let's just start. Now, the purpose of this business bootcamp actually is one and only one purpose. We're all going to go through really, really trying times. And in these really, really trying times, I think SMEs are 90% of the backbone of the country, in any country. And we have now an additional problem because we're also a strong oil producing country, and what's happening in the oil prices globally, that's going to bring further challenge. So one of the things we're looking at here is this. I'm actually looking to see how we can actually work together and try to see whether we can share knowledge, share strategy, share some of the things we have, and then get things forward. Because this is new for everyone. It's new for us, it's new for the government, it's new for everybody who's here, whether you're a big business, an MNC, a small business. Everything here is something none of us have encountered before. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start off with generic things that we have to do, general things that we have to look at, and then from there take it further. So when we look at it, and the thing is, everybody is all wanting to know what's going to happen next, things. But I think sometimes we actually got to take a step back and go back to the beginning. So some of the things I do are very general, and later I'm going to give you all some things that where we look at things which are more urgent and what we need to do. So we'll start now, and as more and more people slowly come in to join us. Okay. Now, the first thing is this is a business bootcamp. I used to do this business bootcamp. I've done it last year. I've done it the year before, but I've had to actually change it in light of what is currently happening. And this whole COVID thing, it's totally unprecedented. We've not had something like this for about 100 years. So let's just get on with it now. And if you think like, why would I have any knowledge, or why would I think? I am no brighter, no smarter, no more knowledgeable than anybody else. But I set up the school when I was about 24 years old. Some years later, 4 years later, I sold it. And in the 97, 96 crisis, I was actually running a few companies. And in the first year, we had fantastic work. We had about, we I think booked in almost 70 million ringgit worth of jobs. And then came the Asian financial crisis, and I lost everything. I lost my everything, from the house, car, business. We lost about 30 million ringgit in a space of about 12 days, just because the ringgit fell from $2.50 to $6. And we were buying a lot of the things from US in US dollars and selling it. And we then had to go back and sort of, virtually, we've been almost bankrupt, but I managed to sort of avoid that by making arrangements and sorting ourselves out and coming back to fight again. The problem we have now is this. That was just a money thing at that point. This is worse, because this is health, which is even much more important than money, and the money side. So it's a double whammy. But I think some of the things that we learned then have sort of prepared us. And I'm a lot better prepared this time than I was then. Though there's no such thing as ever being 100% prepared, but at least some of those lessons are there. And I want to share some of those lessons with you all that I learned the hard way, and hopefully it helps. So let's start off with the first thing. The first thing is purpose. Now you'll be thinking, really? Are we going to start with this? I think when it comes to this kind of situation now, and everybody's thinking of money, if you're a business, go back to your purpose. Why did you start? Why did you start your business? Why did you go into business? Now, in those companies which have a strong purpose will survive. Amazon's purpose to be the most customer-centric company in the world. Okay, you've got Google to be the keeper of the world's information, to make information accessible. In our case, say for BAC, it's very simply this: transforming lives through education. Whether it's kids we're teaching in college, whether it's single mothers we're helping to become entrepreneurs, whether it's a free tuition that we're giving on online platforms, whether it's training teachers to teach refugee kids, but it's all transforming lives through education. And we need to, at these kind of points, remember why we started, because that's what's going to give us that drive, that motivation, that thing to want to get up and do something. Today is not about making money. It's going to be very difficult to make money. It's going to be three things. It's going to be about survival, where we try to survive as these things pan out. So we've got to just make sure we're in survival mode, so that we live to fight another day. Okay, it's about making a difference, about seeing how we can help others who are less fortunate, others who don't have food, others who don't have homes to live in, others, businesses who are struggling. It's about seeing how we can actually, help. So it's going to have to be looking at being a bit more collaborative as well. So we shouldn't be looking at how we're going to fight with each other or compete with each other, but rather looking like how can we both benefit and how can there be a win-win situation. So my first thing is go back to your purpose. If any of us went into business, the purpose of making money, then I'm sorry, you're not going to be, it's not it. Your purpose has to be something bigger. So your purpose has to be, what did you want to do? What actually got you to start, and go back and reconnect with that purpose. So for me, I'm just looking back, it was always to transform lives through education, regardless of where we did it, whether it's in the college, whether it was outside, whether it was just helping people learn. Like today, this idea of this session is I'm hoping that we're out there and educate people that there are ways to mitigate this, to try and reduce it. And for some of y'all, honestly, we won't be able to help. For some of you, maybe we might give you some ideas and it might help you. Now, the second thing is this: values. Whatever business you have, run it by values. Integrity, accountability, be accountable, authenticity, just be honest. Tenacity, this one is going to be very important now. Someone asked the last time when I went down, how did it come up? It's ultimately tenacity, that thing not to give up. We're all going to have to sit down and fight, okay? And a good fight, not fight in the sense of going out and fighting with people, but fighting in the sense of trying to make sure that we can feed the people, our direct family, our home family, our office family, and our customers. We have to see how we look after them. Now, some of them will not understand what you're doing, even if you're trying to do it for their benefit. But, that's nature, you see. So you try and see what you can do to help within the confines of what you're allowed to do and do the best for everyone. Now, professionalism in whatever you do has to be there still, regardless of whether we are staying at home, we are safe, and whether we are operating, we still have to maintain some level of professionalism and ultimately compassion. To me, empathy and compassion are the biggest and most important trait today, because we have to have some level of empathy for everybody who's out there. So for me, if you run your business, don't go now running your business on the basis I want to make money and I really don't care. We'll cut this guy out, we'll do this. There are some of us who will not have a problem, but it's going to be very important for us to maintain professionalism, to maintain that tenacity, because more and more people want to give up. But it's ultimately give up having assessed things objectively, look at things carefully, and then decide. And another aspect is you also should look at compassion, how to help others. So your business, look at your purpose and look at your values and try and tell people, guys, some of us, we still have a job, we still have food, we still have a place to live, and the other people who are worse off. Some companies are doing well, and they're still okay. So, to me, these are important things to look at. The most important thing for me, ultimately here now, is going to be leadership. All leaders of companies, please keep calm, because your job now is not to get excited and get worried and panic, because your job is to now inspire and empower the people around you. You have to be open and transparent. One of the questions that came before the session, how are we going to keep employee morale up when we have to give people pay cuts? Okay, now, to me, it's this. Be honest with your employees, be open with your employees, just come out and tell them, guys, this is the problem we have. Try and explain to them. Now, if you cut their salary, but your salary is not cut, if you are spending on frivolous things unnecessarily, but cutting their salary, if you made a profit of 50 million last year and now making a profit, you'll still make a profit of 20 million, but you're cutting their salary. These are things to look at. Because to me, I think it's both sides. Both sides will have to understand. So as a leader, direction is going to have to come from you. Top down, I still think is the best. And you've got to think short term and long term. Now, what you mean by this is, short term is how we're going to manage and navigate till the end of the year. In some cases, shorter, 3 months, 6 months. But believe me, this is going to go on till the end of the year. Okay, whatever it is, things are going to change for a lot of industries, some worse than others. Now, as a boss and with your team around you, you got to think the next 3 months, what can we do? How can we manage? And then start thinking long term. Post the new normal, how are we going to come back? So it's a matter of balancing these things. And you also have to start learning that thing of making decisions on limited information. You may not have all the information. Now, one of the key things I found is we have generally moved quite quickly because we are an entrepreneurial type organization with a very flat structure. So if someone says, we need this, we do it, and we do it quickly. But in a lot of cases, people are used to having tons and tons of meetings, and it's very bureaucratic. And sometimes here, it is going to be tough. We have our challenges too. So for example, when we have our course here, the law degree, and we want to do something, we have to check with our examiners abroad, we have to check with the Ministry of Education, we have to check with MQA, we have to check with the UK universities, we have to check, and then try to get everybody's buy-in on whatever solution we're putting in to make sure that whatever we decide is protected for the students are in a good place, and that they'll always be there. But we need to go through those processes. But we will have to make decisions sometimes on limited information. Tough decisions are needed. Now, so I'm trying to tell you all of those who are leading, those who are in charge of your companies, please, okay, your job is to make sure you can inspire them, empower them, and show, okay, that you have things under control. It may be tough to put that on, but be honest with them, okay, and pick your team of champions. So I've got a team of champions, of 20 champions around me. We have 329 staff. What I call my champions, there are 20 champions. My job is to nag my 20 champions. Their job is to nag whoever else they have in their teams. But leadership is going to be important. If you're the leader, you can't go now. I know things are bad. You can't go now, hide in the room, don't come out. I mean, we're all stuck at home. That's one of the things you can't hide at home. But you've got to come out there and address issues. Now, communicate clearly. Have some ability to come out, make communications, set up things, mechanism to communicate with everybody, your employees. One of the first things I had to do was, on the first MCO, on the first day it's announced, my head of HR told me and said, staff are worried, their salary is going to be cut. Now, at the time, I just came out to say, I quickly put out a message, guys, your salaries will not be cut. We are okay, we can manage, okay? Now, there may come a time a year from now, or 6 months from now, or 10 months from now, I don't know. We don't know what's going to happen because your guess is as good as mine. There may come a time in a few months where we may have problems. We don't know. But what we are going to do is we're going to sit and do our best to make sure none of this happens. And I know if my staff are together with us, all of us are together in this, we will have no problems. You see, so you've got to communicate with your employees, your colleagues. You've got to communicate with your customers, to talk to your customers. You've got to communicate with your suppliers. You've got to communicate with the regulatory bodies, those who are there. You've got to communicate with your creditors, your banks, your bank loans, all of this. But the key thing is you can't avoid communication. So every week or two, send out something, talk to them. Some may communicate more frequently, but stay in touch. If you don't communicate, okay, it will be worse. In our case, actually, we have sent out letters to students. Actually, my phone number is on every student's correspondence that has been sent out. Every single person actually has a phone number. So that is another aspect. So if they want to WhatsApp me or speak to me, they can. So we have to communicate. Now, operations. When it comes to operations, I think a lot of us, the MCO was announced on the 16th in March. We had one day, 17th, and then 18th. One of the key things you have to look at now is to ensure, we thought it was 2 weeks, then it became 4 weeks, then it's 6 weeks. And I'll tell you that it's going to go on. Okay, it may go on another 2 weeks after this current one, after the 12th. Now, the key thing is this, at some point, you're going to have to decide, how do I move my business? So firstly, what are your main or key functions or processes? What are your key functions and processes to run your entire business? So what we've done now is to tell everybody to break down things into what do we do at every division and every, so we issue letters, offer letters to students. We issue letters for them, for PTPTN application. We have exam board meeting. We have, assessment, submission. So every single thing that is done is what. So what is everything? So if you're running a small business, what could you do? What you could be doing is we buy supplies, we get these supplies, we cook the food, we do this, we do that. I mean, whatever it is, you stipulate what do you actually do. On the second column, this is to make a table. On the second column, you list out who is doing it. So who is doing it now? Let's say it's Tom or Michelle. Okay, that's the person doing it. And have a second backup. So person A and person B. The reason is this: if something goes wrong with person A, and if God forbid they get sick, not necessarily from COVID, something else, whatever it is, you have a backup. So it's who is doing what it is. And the third aspect is where are they doing it? Now, a lot of things now are being done remotely. So they could be doing it from their house, they could be checking, they could be working. So where? In some cases, some people are still working in offices. So you then put, okay, in the branch in Sungai Buloh, or in the branch in KL, or whatever it is. But where is it being done? And the last thing is, okay, with or how. And here is where we put the technology things in. What are the technologies that are being used? So for example, for us, on our finance is being run on Dynamics. Then we also have our HR, which is being run on a product called Descara. Now, then we have our platform, which is another one. So each software. Then we've got design, which is done on Adobe. So every single thing, what is the technology and what is the software being used? So you break your business down into what we do, who is doing it, where are we doing it now, considering that we're all not in the office, okay? And the last thing is how. What technology are we using? If you're using video conferencing, what are you using? Microsoft Teams? Are you using Zoom? Are you using Skype? Are you using WebEx? Whatever it is. So you have all your tools there. And here you can identify your gaps and then see, can we take this thing online? Are we stuck with the office? So start looking at your operations. What part of it can go online? What part of it can't go online? And then try to see whether things can be managed remotely. Now, when it comes to supply chain, this is another big problem for every business. List all your current suppliers. Who are all the people who are supplying you now? And then see who are your critical suppliers. Say if you're a restaurant, where are you going to get your meat from? Where are you going to get your vegetables from? Your onions, your potatoes? Can they give you supply? Then identify backup suppliers. Confirm your inventory levels. Try and make sure for some businesses, we made a lot of orders of things before March. And those orders are coming. And now some of those things will be sitting in your office and not being sold. So you may have a 200, 300,000 ringgit of stock sitting in your office, which you bought hoping to sell in end of March, hoping to sell in April, hoping to sell in May. And some of that stock may just be getting rotten or spoiled. Go check your inventory levels. Manage your inventory. Keep your stocks down. Okay? Have an early warning system to look and see how you're going to manage the supply chain. Also look at your suppliers' costs, because some suppliers will now say, sorry, prices are going up. I can't get supply. What I used to sell you for 5 ringgit is now 8 ringgit. Negotiate with your suppliers. Also look at plan B of finding backup suppliers. Okay, so if your suppliers, are trying to tell you that the prices are escalating and you don't think that's really the case, then you should explore and look at alternatives. But I personally am very loyal to whoever I've worked with. So that would be like a last resort. But you need to also make sure that you're not being taken for a ride. Now, examine your supply chain. So look at your supply chain risk. List down all the people you're getting your current supplies from. Okay, list down who are the critical suppliers. Because some things you can manage without. Okay, but what are the critical supplies to ensure that your business can continue to operate? Look at your inventory. Identify backup suppliers. So this is the thing. Now comes the part most people will be looking at: money. The serious question you have to ask yourself now looking at this is, can we survive till the end of the year and beyond? Can we survive for the next, in this case, I think that some people, the battle is a 3-month battle. Some people, the battle will be, because this is going to go on, is can I survive till at least December? Now, step 1 is this: conserve cash. If you're a business, what you should do is conserve your cash. Now, I'm not saying don't pay your suppliers if they are owed, because you know why? If you don't pay people who are owed money, and if you have the money, that's also not fair, because they won't be able to pay their suppliers. And then they won't be able to support their families, and it's a ripple effect. So to me, you have to look after your own family, you have to look after your own things, but conserve cash. I mean, don't be extravagant. Don't go out and do things that you shouldn't do in tough times. Okay, so look at your cash flow projects, reassess all non-essential projects. There may be projects that you would have had, which you can do without. They're not crucial projects to your survival of the business. Then you may want to put those aside, unless that's very crucial for your future revenue. So step 1 is conserve cash. If you got 100,000 in your bank account, 50,000 in your bank account, conserve it and then see what to do. But at the same time, see who you're owed money, and if it's genuine people and people have been supporting you for years, don't go not pay them. Just, it's not necessary if you can manage. Collect your receivables. when this whole thing happened in March, in April, or whatever, you have to still go out and collect money that's owed to you. So if your customers owe you money, or you have supplied a good to them and they were supposed to pay within 30 days credit or whatever, go and collect your money. Check how much is owed to you, and then can you collect it? Ask them how you're going to collect it. Third one, very important now, is government initiatives. Government has a lot of initiatives, support initiatives that they've put in here today to help businesses and to help the public and so on. And actually, it's quite good that some of the initiatives are good. The only question is, it's very hard sometimes for governments to also decide, they're broad-based initiatives. They can't go and target and help you more than somebody else or whatever. So whatever initiatives they're there, you list out what the initiatives are, and I've done that for internally. You list out what the initiatives are and what you can actually apply for or benefit. Now, some things won't. Like in our case, we couldn't get the 6 months moratorium for loans because they said BAC is too big a company, so we couldn't get that automatically or whatever. You can use that now to cover lost revenue, lost cash flow. But if there are initiatives, take it. If there's a 6 month moratorium, although you think now I've got some money, bear in mind you may not be not selling for the next 6 months. You may not be selling for the next 9 months. You may not be getting revenue. So if there's a government initiative, take it. If you have cash later, you can always pay. It's there to help. Okay, so things like wage subsidies, these kind of things, if the initiatives are there, I would suggest take the initiative. If it can benefit you, and then you can get to conserve some cash, because we don't know what things are going to be like in the next 3, 6, 9 months. Next thing is to look at an expense reduction exercise. What expenses can we cut? Now, I put 2 things here, if you know, without affecting quality or livelihood. What expenses can we cut without affecting quality or livelihood? So these are 2 things that you got to look at. I wouldn't want to cut expenses if my staff are going to get less salary. That's a last resort. It's only when we run out of all the money that we have, then we do it. So I'm always trying to tell companies that if you've got some way, okay, say for example, a company made 5 million profit last year, and this year they may make 1 million profit. I'm saying fine, make less profit, but look after the people who got you to where you are. So you have to try and support and pay the employees, because if they don't get jobs and they get then their families will suffer, and ultimately this whole thing is, everything is linked. But if you are in a business where you can't do anything, for example, like the airlines now, they can't fly, they can't do anything, and they're totally grounded, then they have no choice. If they've got no reserves, or their reserves, they have no choice. And this is where I hope other industries will step in. Now, prepare a budget and cash flow statement. You've got to work out your budget, your cash flow statement. This is crucial. Assess your financial risks. Redo all your forecasts, revise your forecasts. Customer numbers may go down by half. If you had 1,000 customers, you may end up having 500. And then you have discounts. The problem with people asking for discounts is most people don't seem to understand that if you have 10,000 customers and each person asks for $1,000 discount, it becomes 10 million ringgit loss. The business will just close. So people who have money, customers who have money, shouldn't jump in on the bandwagon now and start asking, oh, can I get a discount? You know why? They kill the economy. You kill all the SMEs, you kill the businesses. Because even if a business is making, say, 10 million ringgit, their profit may have been 500,000 ringgit. That's what they would have been making earlier. 500,000 ringgit after they pay off all the expenses. Customers may look at it and say, oh, they're there, it's okay. We'll all ask for a discount. And once you have 10, you have the 10, say for example, they get a 20% discount. Now what happens is, for making 500,000 ringgit, they are losing 1.5 million ringgit. Worse still, they have half the customers from before. So now they'll be losing 6 million ringgit. The business can't survive. It will close down. And all those people working there will lose their jobs. Which is why this is the time where SMEs, businesses, customers, everyone have to rally together and think, no, if I have a house and I've got food and I've got a decent income, okay, this is not the time to go out there and, get people to lose their jobs. You see, so we have to be kind and understand the fact that a lot of the businesses are already going to lose 70% of their revenue, 60% of their revenue. And bear in mind, these businesses exist, okay, because they want to serve. And in some cases, all their staff are going to lose their jobs. So yesterday, I was so sad to see this yesterday. Primark in the UK, 24 stores, their revenue was £650 million a month. Their revenue is now zero. They just announced yesterday they are closing all 24 stores. A revenue of 650, £1 million a month to zero. 68,000 staff are going to lose their jobs. 68,000 staff are going to lose their jobs. So if you look at it, okay, times are going to be tough, but we can make it less tough if we all act rationally, if we all, are calm about things, if we all look at things and say, hey, this one, and give the businesses a chance to help the genuine poor. If they are like 5% of the customers who are really poor, who can't afford food, this is where we can come in now and give those guys that money to buy their food. If they can't afford education, this is where the 5 or 10%, the really poor, the B40, this is where that group of people can be helped. And that is where how all of us should be thinking. If you look at money, tax implications, huge implications here in corporate tax, especially those who have been making good profits and you're paying a large amount, your profits are going to go down, your tax is going to go down, your SST implications have to be looked at. Bank loans, if I were you and you had properties and whatever it is, look at how you can restructure. Try and buy from the banks about a year, because for the next year it's going to be really tough. Try and tell them that no, if I got to pay my bank loans at 200,000 a month or 300,000 a month, it's 3 million, 4 million for this year, it's going to be tough. I will have problems with my staff, to pay my staff, problems to do this. So go and look, because sometimes we may want to think it's all nice and rosy and this is going to end next week, it's going to end next month. It's probably not. So it's better for us to sit down, start talking to the banks. The banks are there to help the SMEs. They have been given directives to help. So if you can show a cash flow and a plan, then you have an idea. Like colleges and universities are going to be in a huge mess. Colleges and universities are going to be in a huge mess because we don't know when the intakes are going to be. Exams are being moved. For example, the University of London exam is moved 2 months behind earlier. Okay, intakes will change. The SPM exams are moved. There'll be no January intake next year. There may be no April intake next year. For the next 1 year, we're going to try to figure out what are we going to do. But all we got to do now is try to see, make sure we look after whoever we have, try and do the best job we can, try to pay all the teachers that we have who are working with us, try to pay all the staff that we have, and do our best. And even though we might think that, it might be okay, I'm going to go talk to the banks and say, guys, can you help us spread things, and look at things, because I don't know what's going to happen next month or the following month. What if we're in we're in lockdown for the next 6 months? So we need to sit down and think, not panic, because panicking is not going to help anybody. We need to sit down and think, okay, if we talk to the bank guys, what happens? What are the tax implications? What cash do we have and we can keep? What, things can we, receivables, what is owing to us? Manage your inventory, improve your working capital. Regulatory matters. Ministry of Education has been very good this time, because every 2 days they are reaching out. And they are taking their directive from Ministry of Health and also the Home Affairs. So you got all these ministries trying, and they themselves are trying to say what to do. I don't think kids will be allowed to go back probably till the end of the year to the primary school and secondary school. So these are things that we have to look at. But everything you look at money, think short term. Do I have money for next month, the following month, and how am I going to have money beyond that 3 months? Because nothing is worse than actually going back to tell your staff that, guys, we don't have money to pay you. And many of us are already in that situation. And then when we talk to them, we got to ask. And we need the employees to step up also. Because in the good times, many people don't have to. In these times, everybody's got to try and see what they can do. Asset devaluation is a small thing, because a lot of the properties you have, the values that have gone down, it may affect the balance sheet. So for me, it's people. At the end of the day, look after your people. The people that you have, protect them, retain them, support them. Okay, in some cases, you got to have well-being programs as well, because some of the staff, they're also sitting at home. Some are alone. They are depressed. They are anxious. They are worried about whether they have a job or not. Help them cope with the stress. Because you must understand, this is a human problem. It is not, money is one part of it, but at the end of the day, go out, look after your team, be there for them. I think my side, I got a great team, the HR guys and some of the heads, they're out there every day. I've actually messaged them. Every time there's something, we message in the group. You guys need help, reach out. Be open and transparent with your people. Have clear roles, priorities, expected. What do you want to expect from them? And I will tell you, we have a problem. After this lockdown, I have some staff who are working too hard. They're working 7 days a week, 2:30 in the morning. We're exchanging WhatsApps now. I'm trying to tell some of them to take a break, but they're working. They're not your average staff. There's one group. There's another group who's doing their work, and there's another group that can't do much. Some pre-MCO, they were also not the ones who contributed a lot. During the MCO, it's the same problem. And every organization will have this. Some can't do work. We have got drivers. How are they going to work remotely? We have got bus drivers. We have got, dispatch. There's nothing to dispatch now. We are not open. So the question becomes, how do we deal with them? Do we say that, oh, you guys are doing, now we don't need you, we let them go? We cannot. So we've all got to sit down and try and find ways. So some of them now, we're saying, okay, maybe they can help in our community work of dispatching food to the B40 or places where people don't have food. Because you see, ultimately, everybody wants to have some purpose in life. Everybody wants to have some role. So I'm saying, yesterday we had a meeting day for yesterday where we sat down and said, guys, let's find roles for all those people whose job has to be reinvented so they can still be relevant. 2 weeks is fine. 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. It is time to retrain them, to try and give them a new skill, to try and help them so they can cope. And it's time for us, for one group to work and help fund the other group. No choice. They'll do the same for us, I'm sure, if the roles were turned. So don't be upset, oh, they're not doing anything or no. Try to give them, I said, go find things they can do. It's not that they don't want to do things, it's just that they don't have the skill set. If you're driving the bus and nobody's going to college now, how do you drive the bus? So the question now is this, but that bus driver could be able to maybe take food supplies out to the B40 in certain areas and we get permission. So we're checking on things like that now. So pick your leaders. For your people, pick your leaders, your champions. No, if you have got 100 employees, 200, 300, it will be too difficult for you to talk to 100 people. So you have people under each of your leaders and they will do things. Okay? Now also build your capacity, capability, cross-train. We'll come to all this. Have a succession plan. Now let's talk about temporary succession plans. Fortunately, in Malaysia, the things haven't gotten so bad yet. Okay? And I mean, it's bad because if we go out, then it's going to get bad. So at the moment, okay, it's not so bad yet. But generally in these type of organizations, just now I told you, what are we doing? Who is doing it? Where and how? What technology? On the who, you've always got to have two people. The main person, the first person, and the second person. So this is where you must have a succession plan. If anything, God forbid, happens, it doesn't have to be COVID. Something else could have happened. Maybe he got sick. Maybe he had some other illness. Maybe he left. Maybe he couldn't take it anymore. Whatever it is, you must have a backup plan. Okay? If he gets sick and then he's suddenly, hospitalized and this thing, your entire operations may come to a stop. So all employees, you must understand, guys, don't hold what you have and keep it like, I'm only in this company because I have this knowledge and they can't replace me. No, whatever your company are in, bear in mind, think, if you've got 500 other staff there, if you don't share and train another person to take your job or to at least do your job, okay, you're not being, you're not looking after everybody's interests. Nobody, I think, wants to kick anybody out or replace anyone, but you just want to make sure that things can go on. So you always need a backup plan. And I mean, we have a HR system, absenteeism, underperforming staff, etc. But I told you, support your staff. Now, everybody is now remote working. So you got to create your HR policies and procedures for remote working. So, and here, you got to try and help them. How can they work from home? Now, in some cases, some guys were easy. They know how to use a computer. They very quickly picked up how to use things like Microsoft Teams, SharePoint, all that software we've had. Some of them didn't use it earlier because they didn't need to. Realize the learning curve for some staff. Some staff aren't as computer savvy. Help them. Okay. Also, train your staff on how to avoid scams, because now with all these things at home, there will be more scams, more data, cybersecurity issues, and so on. So try and help them with those matters as well. Now, use remote working platforms. Like we have one where people can actually clock in every day, give a report of what they've done, clock out. Everything can be done online, and you can actually see what type of work they've done. So look at these elements. You have got to create a remote working environment. You got to understand, for some who are not so tech savvy, you will need help. Someone has to try and help them, like how to hook the computer up, how to connect to the network, how to do this. There are times recently I've actually asked my IT staff and just shared my computer with them when I had problems, and they'll just come share screen, okay, give me control, and they can fix it from wherever they are once you're on the net. So please understand that it's a new way of working. You got to make it, staff available, make it easy for them. Now, I always tell people, and I've always had this impression, work like a startup, because it's one of the things that I believe: flat structure, minimize bureaucracy, small teams of loyal employees, able to make quick decisions, though sometimes we can't because we still need to check with regulatory bodies and other areas. So sometimes when it comes to things like exams, we still have to check with external examiners, we still have to check with UK universities, we still have to check with MQA, we still have to check with KPT, we still have to check with LPQB, the legal profession, to make sure, all of these things. So we're checking with everybody to get things, and we found good solutions, which we then communicate. So the thing there is, it's always a matter of trying to see how we can do. Focus on goals, meet your deadlines, think creatively. So these are working like a startup. So that means you don't assume you got a lot of money. You sit down and try and get things done quickly through energy. Now, create an innovation mindset. Now, this thing, we always talked buzzwords earlier. A lot of buzzwords were buzzwords last year, and now the only word we hear is COVID and survival. Now, companies always talk about having an innovation mindset, an innovative mindset, but no, it's not just innovation in creating your product. You should be looking at innovation in every single aspect, from your supply chain, your talent development, your sales process, your customer engagement, throughout your whole business. I'll give you some simple examples. Like one of the guys who's, the market guy in Bangsa who sells fish and so on and so forth. One of the things he's done is, in this process, okay, there are problems with the people don't go to the market and they can't go. So he's now sending his product to his customers. So he had numbers of his customers who used to buy crabs or prawns or whatever. He now just gets them, they WhatsApp him the order he wants, and he delivers. And he's got 80 customers, and he says, no, I can't handle anymore. So you see, this is where you have thought of something. I have another person that I know who is actually from one friend to another friend to another friend now using. He actually does the shopping for you. So for example, if you tell him, I need these things pick up, maybe in, whatever market in PJ or Old Player or whatever, he will go and buy the things that are needed. And then you pay him a fee, 30 ringgit, 40 ringgit. So he goes and does marketing for 5 to 10 people at one go, and he gets the stuff and he brings it back. Now he's making a living. So in each case, you have got to sit down now and think, what can I do? Because times are tough, and innovation doesn't mean like you're going to have to create the next iPhone or the next, look at simple things. In your organization, what can I do more creatively? What can I do, in order to survive? So these guys in the market, people even selling appam are now selling appam online. Order 10, we'll sell it to you, and so on. And these are the heroes to me. Guys who know there is a problem, okay, and who are not sitting there and wallowing in the problem to say, there is a problem, what do we do? I can't do anything. There's always something. You may not make as much money. Maybe you made 10,000 a month earlier. But these are times where we may have to make 1,000 a month, 800 a month, 2,000 a month. And then slowly you will fight back. I will tell you, in the 90s, I made a lot of money. I actually got down to the point where I had zero money. I lost every single thing I had. Every, the house, every single thing was gone. And thank God for me, my wife is always with me. So, so we had to prop each other up. There were times where we'd be looking for, to buy milk because my son was just been born. There was a problem. The thing is that sometimes we have our pride and ego, and we don't ask. My dad will, run. My family will run and help us if anything, But we sit down and look at things. But the question is to not give up. So think now, where can you be innovative? What can we do? It's not just product; it's everywhere. What can I do smarter? Now, these are your functions in your office: finance, HR, operations, customer, purchasing, IT, product delivery, product development on new products, especially now. Marketing, how are you going to market, advertise or market? Communications, communicating with your customers, communicating your sales, your legal, your crisis, there's all these things are here. Regulatory, now, all these functions are here. A lot of this, you got to sit down and say, okay, finance. Now, in our case, we use Dynamics and we can manage it remotely, okay? Now, of course, students used to come and pay in the cashier in their college. Now we have to see how they pay online. So we have to look at things. Human resource, people used to come and work in the office. Now we look at how remote working is done. Operations, okay, we've got that college management. I mean, we try to manage for every function here. What technology do you have that can try to help you decide or at least do some of these things? You have to sit down and look at it. You see, because these functions will still have to go on. And whatever it is, almost, you see, one of the problems now is this. All of us still have to pay all our staff. All of us still have to pay for the rent or whatever in the buildings we are sitting in. All of us will still have to pay all the expenses that we were committed to pay earlier. But revenue is going to go down. And this is where we're going to have to sit down and try to see, how can we lower some of the expenses? What can we do? And we meet with the last thing being to affect people. Now, technology. Technology is going to be all those functions now. List all the technology tools you have for your various divisions. What are we using for finance? What are we using for HR? What are we using for operations? What are we using for purchasing? What are we using for, our marketing? For example, you may have Google Analytics or whatever it is. Okay, what are we using for customer relations? Maybe CRM. What type of CRM software are you using? What are we using for, say, if you're a college, like a learning platform? What are you using for each your facility management? Okay, for each thing, list out and look and see whether all of this can work remotely. Now, you also got to decide policy issues on, bring your own device, company issued laptops. Can they actually look at it? Look at cloud solutions. So list all the technology pieces that you have, see where are the gaps, and then see what can be done. And a lot of companies now are offering better pricing, free trials, 3 months, where if you need to fill up those gaps and invest, and if you need it, then you can explore. Now, this is one of the key things. We have to design your new customer experience. Because bear in mind, some people are of the view, 2 weeks, we'll come back, no problem. Then 4 weeks, we'll come back, no problem. 6 weeks, we'll come back, no problem. 8 weeks, we'll come back. There'll be another 2 more weeks after this extension. You now have to sit down and try and see now how we're going to carry on business. Now, for some people, it's fine. Grocery shops are open, people are going and buying groceries, they will survive. Okay, some restaurants are doing takeout, who can do, small restaurants are doing takeout, they'll survive. Big restaurants are not. Hotels are going to find it tough. Restaurants are going, big restaurants are going to find it tough. Entertainment spaces are going to find it tough. I mean, the concerts and so on. So you're going to have to sit down now and rewrite what is your new experience. Now, we tried with our students, just trying to put stuff online, but just having an LMS and putting stuff online. Then we added the lectures. Then we tried to say, okay, fine, we started giving them access to psychiatrists and so on, a counseling hotline in case they were depressed or whatever, then that's still there. Then comes the issue of, we try to add classes like our Zumba and salsa and whatever, Bollywood dancing and try. The last 3 weeks, we actually had 3. Today we got, I think, Hearthstone today or tomorrow. The last week they had a Dota competition and the week before a PS4 competition. And what's nice to see is our Performing Arts Club, they're now trying to put a charity concert together among all the students and perform. Christian Fellowship did their first meeting online a few weeks ago. The thing is this, the experience is going to change. So you have to now relook all your customer touch points. What is your new way to connect with your customer? And how are you going to make that experience? And how are you going to look after them? And it's going to be a learning process for all of us as well. And I think one of the key things is keep things simple. Okay, just show people you are there. Every day, every student, as I take out my number, every day I've got different people who WhatsApp me, ask me questions on this and that, which is fine. So be there for your customers. Be there for your staff. Okay, and ultimately be there for the community as well. So you got to design this whole new experience. So this was our old way of doing things. So this is what happened before. Now, how do I replace that and create a new experience of how people are going to interact with my business? So I give an example. The market guy is a simple example. Earlier, you go to Bangsa, park your car in the market, it's very crowded as usual, jump out, then you go and buy things from there. But now what's going to happen is, he's going to call you, hello uncle, hello auntie, whatever it is, I've got this. Okay, I got good kurau fish, I got bawal, I got this, okay, 1 kilo, half kilo, whatever. I make sure it's good, I send it to you tomorrow morning. Now he sends to you. The experience has changed. He's still talking to you, he's familiar with you. Okay, and he's still talking to you, you know him, you want to continue doing business with him, because you've been buying from him for the last 10, 20 years. So if you guys are there are some businesses where I'm telling you, it is going to be a problem. But for many of the businesses, you can do things. Okay, so later I will talk about those businesses where it's going to be a problem. Now market your business, don't give up. Whatever it is, if you can still, unless you can't operate at all, zero, and you can't do anything, then there's no point. But if you can still keep your business going at 20%, 30%, whatever it is, market your business. Push whatever products you have, push whatever things you have out to the market. Okay, what is different about you? Okay, fine. Now, like for us, for schools, we're doing the whole courses online. People can actually study online. They can watch the lecture. They can rewatch the recording. They can follow. There are online exams that you can look at. There will be things like take-home exams, which are different for. So there are a lot of different things that are there. And all of this, we're getting clearance from the authorities on how and what can be done, in the short term and in the long term. So you have to sit down and look at these things, but don't give up marketing. But find guerrilla marketing tactics, in a sense, less expensive tactics if you need to, because you may not be able to spend as much as you did before, but still market and be there. Now, the biggest problem all of us are going to have is this. There's a great book called The Battle for Relevance. Okay, The Battle for Relevance. Now, today the problem all of us are going to be finding is how to stay relevant. Now, bear in mind, this was already there earlier. If you look at companies like Nokia, Blockbuster, you look at Kodak, a lot of these, they become irrelevant over time. The problem is the COVID-19 situation has made people irrelevant a lot faster than anything. So these people may have had 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is, it's there. And bear in mind, countries become irrelevant, companies, people, like, once you retire, say you're a footballer, you retire, and after that you have to find a way how to discover yourself. The question now is, all of us have to find ways now to make ourselves relevant. Darwin, to me, has got like the best statement here. The species that will survive is neither the strongest nor the most intelligent, but the one most adaptable to change. We now have to change. I mean, there's always the famous saying, change or die, but we now have to change. Toffler talked about things like learning, unlearning and relearning, okay? But the problem we have now is this. We have been doing business in one way. This has come in and prevented, I'll give you an example, concerts, big concerts. It's fun to attend concerts. It's fun to go and watch football games. It's fun to do, go to the cinema. A lot of these industries now are going to be affected. And these industries are going to have to find ways how to reinvent themselves. So in the movie industry, we now not have people going to cinema, but movies industry may actually start making new movies and releasing them just to Netflix or through those portals where people can watch at home. Of course, it's not the same thing, but you have to look at that. For us as schools, we have to find ways how to reinvent ourselves. How we're going to go online, how we're going to look at it. Restaurants will have to find ways how to reinvent themselves. Airlines are going to have a huge problem on how to find ways how to reinvent themselves. But all of us, regardless of our business, there is a battle now for relevance. We're going to have to see how are we going to stay relevant in this new normal. And I tell you all, the only way to do that is to keep learning. Gandhi has this statement, live as though you will die tomorrow, learn as if you will live forever. Now with the COVID, we might actually die tomorrow, but the thing is, the idea is to learn as if you live forever. I'm trying to say that we all have to sit down now and learn ways how to reinvent ourselves. Fast-track skill acquisition is one area. One of the things I'm trying to get people to understand is how to pick and learn things quickly. You have to learn how to fail. Now, for some of you all, you have your businesses, you're wondering what to do. You don't want to try something new. If you can put a little bit of money, you got to learn, fail small things, try something. Because for some of your businesses, I will tell you, there may not be a future in that business. And for the next 6 months, 8 months, you may have to experiment and try to find something new. And if you're trying to find something new, find a mentor. Because sometimes having a mentor will be good because at least he can guide you or at least advise you if you're doing something silly. I always tell people take small risks, okay? But staying relevant is going to be the biggest problem that we are going to have moving forward. Now, build competencies. How do we stay relevant? We need to build competencies. So as a business, all of us, we need to see what competencies can we build. Now, say for example, for Brickfield side, on our side, one of the key things we look at is when we are building competencies, okay, we have a school, we're operating face-to-face classes. Now we have online, when we go online. Now if we build online, what about the competency of therefore delivering online? Then comes the competency of assessing people online. Then can we actually scale up and offer these courses now to other countries? In terms of people in Thailand or in Indonesia, would they be able to come in now and do the courses? So you need to build competencies, both one, as a business, and two, as an individual. Because if you build these competencies as an individual, you make yourself more marketable to employers in the future. If you build these competencies as a business, you will find that in future, you'll become more productive, you'll be able to increase your revenue, you'll be able to scale, and you'll be able to start leveraging international markets. So start building competencies for your business. So if I got 1,000 customers now, say, in Malaysia, and now my 1,000 customers has become 500, and the situation in Malaysia is bad, can I get these 500 customers from Singapore or Indonesia or Thailand? Or do I have something? Do I have an ability to deliver the product? So you've got to start looking at how do I scale and how do I take the product across. I mean, lots of companies, like people like Starbucks, McDonald's, and a lot of these companies have scaled. They will now be having problems because these are eateries where people visited. So they themselves will now be finding new ways of changing their business. They may suddenly be doing McDonald's just purely deliveries out as quick as they can, changing the Starbucks experience to home. They're all not going to be sitting there doing nothing. So and to do these things, you need competencies. So you need to build and be able to move that. Go out and look for problems to solve. A key element here is this. Please understand, the current scenario actually presents lots of opportunities. It's going to get tough, but as it gets tough, and a lot of us are going to suffer, okay? All of us, we're going to have pain points and difficulties with this, but please always understand, sometimes, you might think your pain point is a big point, but your people usually 100 times suffering, 100 times more than you. So always bear that in mind, okay? But out of problem comes opportunity. So whenever you see the problem, I always feel if you're an entrepreneur or you're running a business, your job is to look for problems. Okay, it's a bit odd to say that's your job. Your job is to look for problems and then to come up with solutions. I mean, that's how Uber started. Airbnb started that way. These guys wanting to rent a room. Oh, there's a problem, there must be other people. And then there's Uber, trying to get a cab, couldn't get a taxi, saw so many empty cars running around, and then suddenly figured, like, what if all these people could have passengers in their car, then it'd be easy. And that's how Uber was born. And in every case, look out for problems. And at this point now, they will see problems. Like, that's why this guy was going and doing shopping for other people like drop shop. Now you got the e-bazaar for Ramadan, because there's a problem. People can't go out to the bazaar, so we take the bazaar to them. So all of these are problems, and all of these are people thinking of, what can I do to be part of the solution? So always ask yourself, what can you do to be part of the solution? Always ask yourself, what can I do that is a generation better than now? You see, that's how the iPod came in. Steve Jobs looked at what the MP3 player was, what were the problems with the MP3 player. He felt limited storage, it wasn't attractive, blah, blah, blah. And then the CD, 10 songs on a CD maximum. Then you buy a CD. Sometimes you only like 2 songs on the CD, you buy the whole CD. And this whole thing was, there's a problem, then the solution. Same thing with Netflix. Blockbuster was there, huge video chain. Netflix, okay, fine, you go, you can't borrow the video comes. There were issues with the traditional video shop. You have to drive there, borrow 3 videos, and then go back. Then Netflix comes in and says, okay, you got all these titles, you pay 1 fee. It changes it. But the thing you must understand is, this is the problem. And this is what people are saying. These businesses, to make money, like Netflix and they need scale. They need a lot of customers. And most of us are not running those type of businesses. And at the current moment, the problem we have is this. If we are an online business, fine, but we are not. We all have our physical restaurants, we all have our physical campuses, we all have our physical, we have, everything is still there. The barber shop is still there. We're still paying rent. We're still paying the barbers that we have salary. We are in our case, our college buildings are there. Everything is still there. We're still paying for all the, the maintenance, the rent, the bank charge, everything is still there. We are not an online entity, and maybe 3 months from now, everybody gets to go back. 2 months from now, everybody gets to go back. We don't know. So we are living in 2 worlds: a physical world where we still have to bear all the expenses and costs, and all the employees we have, and an online world. And this is going to be hard. But what I'm trying to say is, start thinking, look for solutions to problems. Ask yourself, what can I do that's a generation better? Wouldn't it be great if people could have this? And then you can start bringing in your products. So grow by innovating new products. Start looking. Okay, you need to create new products. Look at a few products. Don't try and create 1,000 products. That's a problem we all have. Look at a few key products. Bring those few key products out. Don't wait till it's 100% ready. Nobody does. They didn't launch iPhone 11 with today's features. It's iPhone 1. Windows also is same. You launch a product, and once it's launched, then you will find things that need to be fixed, and you slowly fix it. Some people have this problem that they want to be perfect, 100%, and they will take them 10 years to launch the product. But if you don't, and then when after 10 years, you find customers didn't want that product, and those are the features that, they were not looking for that. So launch, not a minimum viable, but launch a decent product, which is quite good. And then be very quickly ready to make improvements to it, make changes to it. Spread the risk. In terms of products, in terms of customers, suppliers, employees, resources, spread your risk. So one of the key things I would try to say is, if you are there, you have to make sure you don't have just one product, don't have just one customer, don't have just one supplier, okay, or two suppliers for anything. Don't just have a few employees. You have to have, your risk have to be spread, because if something happens, an employee gets sick, you're in trouble. If one supplier goes under and can't deliver the product you want, you're in trouble. Say you're running a shop that only sells, chicken. Okay, you're a restaurant serving chicken, and suddenly there's no more supply of chicken. You're gone. You're in trouble. I mean, you'll have to change your menu. Now, these are some of the entities we have within the group. I'm not going to go through, but this is one of the reasons why we spread our risk. In the sense, we have Veritas, there's an online university. We have now a presence in BAC College Singapore. We have ICT, which is a mass comm design. Then we have Rickles College. Then we have Reliance. Now, within these are all different types of colleges and entities, but partly because we wanted to make sure if we are just in one school and one area, we could be very exposed and they could be dangerous. Now, in some of the cases, the problem in some of the schools, we're just starting. They're new. We're just building it up, and this current thing doesn't help. But in the long run, we just try to see how we can spread. Today, this might work, that might not work. So spread the risk. Get ready for the new normal. Okay, I want to tell you that you have to get ready for the new normal, in the sense this pandemic is going to change things. Okay, and they're going to be new business models, new ecosystems. A lot of things we took for granted. Just being able to go. I mean, I remember watching a football game, going to a nice restaurant with friends, and just having a meal, our parties, our office, going to office and chilling with your colleagues, going to watch a concert with the kids, those kind of things. It's all going to be different now. And I mean, I'm hoping at some point, either we get the vaccine or something, something comes in, Yesterday when I heard about Primark, I was actually 68,000 jobs. And then I heard the airlines, how many of them have cancelled and removed so many pilots, 600 pilots, 400 pilots yesterday. The airline industry across the world, across the thing. I mean, it is so sad. And I was just suddenly thinking of my dad. My dad, God bless him, in these kind of cases, would have come up with one of his profound statements. I think somebody needs to give that virus a good tight slap. But human spirit cannot, we can't go down. So let's pool together. Now, you need to think short term, you need to think long term. Okay, throughout, I'm telling you all. You need to redesign your current products. Whatever you're currently having that cannot sell, redesign. You need to repackage. You need to explore some new products. You need to explore new methods of delivery. So I'll give you an example. We did our orientation recently for the new April students. We did it online, and I thought it went quite well. We had things sent to them. We did our best, and I think the students appreciated. We added a lot more things to it. Life has to go on. We can't just leave people stuck in their homes with nothing to do, and they don't progress. So if we sit down, we should find ways how to fill the gaps. Relook your business model. Okay, relook your business model. Look at the gaps, your labor gaps, your competency gaps, your infrastructure gaps, your finance gaps, your technology gaps. All of these gaps you need to look at. Okay, all of these gaps you need to look at. You need to review and renew your business continuity plan. Okay, so you have to have a plan. Okay, how we're going to go. Now, in our case, we locked everything. Now we run, everything is done remotely. We have meetings on Zoom or Microsoft Teams or sometimes Skype, or sometimes with 3-4 hours just on WhatsApp. Everything is being done. Everything is structured. We are running. And actually, in fact, the worst thing is, I think never worked as hard as this. I think for the first 18 days, I was getting up at 7:30 and sleeping at 2 o'clock. 2:30 until my wife said, but the thing is this, I had to make sure that everybody in the office, that we had to take care of everybody that we had. And then we look at taking care of all the students that we had. And there are lots of issues because the Cambridge A-level exams have been cancelled worldwide. The University of London exams have been moved back 2 months. the transfer degree exams. We have now talked to them on, and everybody wants to say, like, do it this way, do it that way, do it this way. And many people don't realize that sometimes we need to consult with everybody and come up with a solution. And many people don't realize sometimes we've already come up with the best solution, which we can't communicate until we get all the feedback. So it becomes such that you don't tune off. You don't stop working. You're 24 hours a day. And that's what you got to wind down at some point. And I've got a lot of my friends and colleagues who are sitting or in other companies or in the other saying, I'm just sitting here in the house with nothing to do. And that is terrible as well. So look at these things. These are the trends to look out for. You've got your access versus asset generation, which is there. It's going to be even more now. Everybody is going to be online doing things, but of course they're at home. Key things, which I didn't add one or two things here, will be things like your social distancing will be one aspect, that people will be looking at as a mega trend on how to create things on social distancing. Remote working will be another mega trend. Okay, actually there's a different slide. I forgot to put that slide in here. So these are some of the mega trends to look at. Now, protect your brand. Throughout this whole process and what has happened here, one of the key things you must remember is protect your brand, your personal brand as an individual, and your business brand. Because do what you can. I mean, there will always be people come out, attack you, take pot shots, whatever it is. But you do what you can to make sure you're acting properly as best. So if your conscience is clear that you're doing good things, then fine. Okay, because whatever it is, whether there's COVID, no COVID, whatever, I think your reputation, your brand is still an important aspect. And you should do whatever you can to protect that brand. Key thing for me, do good. Throughout this period, okay, try to find ways and methods how you can actually do things which help the others. Don't sit there, my favorite quotation, one of my most favorite quotations ever is by Henry Ford. Success is where you've done more for the world than the world has done for you. Okay, success is purely when you have done more for the world than the world has done for you. So you've got to ask yourself, what can you do now for others in this kind of scenario? Okay, and there are lots of things we can do. I mean, you might think, nobody's asking you to go and do, millions of things. Giving 5 ringgit for somebody to have a meal is already something. Helping, some kid even on the phone trying to teach them something is something. Giving some free tuition connection, if you're there, get 10, 15 students and teach them something, is something. But the question is, try to figure out how you can. And the thing on brand and reputation, one of the things that really impressed me was this time, how in the first 2-3 weeks, a lot of people came out to help, and there still are. Some of them are, associations, some of them are NGOs, some of them are people running around, some of them even politicians, whatever it is, people are running around trying to help the less fortunate. And that's sometimes, I think, a good thing of behind all this is when you see the human spirit at work, that people actually coming out to do, but not thinking about, I used to earn this, now I'm earning less, oh my God, what happens, I can't go to. There are always people going to be worse off than us. And to me, I was very upset for the first 2 to 3 weeks. You know why? I'll be very honest. When this whole thing happened, for the first 2 to 3 weeks, I could do nothing but try to make sure that the college was safe. Why? I have 329 people who depend on us for a salary, and their families depend on them for that salary. That's about 1,500, 2,000, there are 1,500 people there who depend on us. I had to make sure they were safe. I had to make sure my own family was safe. I had to make sure they were safe, and I had to make sure the students that we could try and do whatever we can to make sure they were fine. So the first 2 weeks or 15, 16 days was to get that done. So what happens? Where the college is on? What happens to the exams? And people sometimes we reach out to communicate, but everybody seems to still want to ask you the same question on phone, WhatsApp, and we tell people, guys, wait, because we got to ask ministry, can we teach online? First they say, they might say no, then you're not online, then okay, yes, you can. We need to get clearance. And they themselves, and it's new for everybody. And everybody is impatient at a time when everything is new. So the key thing is I was really upset because you know why? We work with over 200 NGOs normally, and we run about 280 charity projects. Just the week before the MCO and the week of the MCO, I had 7 projects, which were by people to raise funds for various charities and all 7 were, events where people had to come in and do, and all 7 were called off, and all 7, couldn't go on at that time. I mean, so they lost money. I mean, sometimes the venue, they book, they side things, and they lost money. And when it happened, the first thing, as anyone, is you got to protect your family and you got to protect your business. It's a bit like the airport. When you're on the plane, they'll tell you, when the mask falls, put the mask for yourself first, even if you're with a child, because if you don't have the mask, you can't save your child. So it was basically that. We had to make sure we were safe. And then worse still was my head of community development, is Brian. His mom passed away in the first 2 weeks of the COVID, and he normally helps spearhead a lot of these things or look at a lot of these things. So I mean, she passed away from she was 94 and wonderful woman. And so Brian was, also not in a position for us to go around asking him what to do. And then Brian said, no, everybody's doing a lot of stuff. So we can take a break and come back. And I think as of last week, we're back. We're trying to look after the college, we're intact, and now we're coming back. And these are some of the things we are doing. We have some examples of things we are doing. We have our BAC Flicks. BAC Flicks is actually, we've got SPM Flicks, PT3 Flicks, UPSR, SJKT for Tamil schools, SJKC for Chinese schools. We now have 173,000 students learning on our online tuition platform, which has been provided free always. More than 120,000 students have signed since the MCO has come on board. What astounded me was the SJKC, the Sekolah Kebangsaan Cina Primary School. 40,000 students were signed up by the schools within a period of a few days. We are now running free classes for SPM students every day, 4 hours a day. They have classes every day for SPM students. We have classes for PT3 students as well, being run every day, 2 hours every day. Now some said, okay, no PT3 exam, but I told them just continue running it. You know why? These students are still going to need to build their foundation. Otherwise, when they go to Form 4, Form 5, because UPSR and PT3, there's automatic promotion. Even if you didn't do well in Form Standard 6 or you didn't do well in PT3, you still get promoted. It's fine. But I think it's still important that the kids do learn something, and it's there. And what we have found is every day we're getting more than 2,000 new students coming on board. And I think that's been our thing, transforming lives through education. So I told the guys, no, we're going to have to spend money to do this. Okay, and the key thing we have is this: we have a repository of 8,700 videos for SPM and PT3 and UPSR and even the Tamil Primary School, SJKT. We have 8,700 videos, about 3,000 plus of SPM, okay, which you can always access in historical. So in addition to live classes, this is there. So to me, that is one of the things we've done. The second one is Veritas University. This was there before. We actually did. This was end of last year, and actually in May they start. Veritas is actually the world's paid-forward university. In other words, it's the first paid-forward university where if a student pays fees, say someone signs up for the MBA, a B40 person, and we need, we have a panel that will look, a B40 student who comes from a poor background, who cannot afford to study, will study their degree or their pre-U course for free. But you have to be financially needy. So this was a sort of an idea where we were thinking that if a person signs up and just does a course, and someone else who's poor studies for free, or someone else who's special needs studies for free, so that will be a key aspect. And this was done long before the COVID, which we started. The key thing, and even the students who are paying the fee, for example, the MBA, they're paying about 12,000 plus. It is the lowest fee that's on the market. But our idea is, it's a university to do social good. And that's what we're talking about. How do we transform lives through education? The third one now is giveback.my. This is a crowdfunding platform which we're just being launched this week. Last week we started. So last week we did a campaign to feed the homeless. In 48 hours we raised about 12,000 meals. And then we've been actually doing things for buying provisions for the poor, and then now sending those provisions out. So we're working with a lot of organizations now. And what we notice is, we've done this before. During the Penang floods 3 years ago, just a simple campaign that we did, I think ultimately ended up with almost about 800,000 ringgit of things going up to Penang. in the form of mattresses, medicines, assistance, whatever. All were items that will come in. Raincoats, things for flood gear, donated by various people. We just helped coordinate, got the transport done, got all of that done, and pushed it. We need that now. We need food to get to people who don't have food. We need people who are on daily wages, who don't have jobs now, to be given, some way of feeding themselves. We need to come out and help. And actually now, that's where my emphasis is going to go. We are going to go fully on that side of helping. And the college will be run by, it's always been run by capable people that I have. I've got one of the best teams in the people that work with me, from my CEO, my COO, my Murali, Arya, Ruben. We have my online team, Jennifer, Kavita, my HR. We've honestly got some of the best. Assistant Mu, Mitala, Dini. There's so many. I can't name 329 people, but we have by far some of the best people that work with us. And the thing is, their heart's in the right place. You see. So what I'm saying is, that's where we're going to spend our time. Two things. One, we're going to try and help all the businesses survive. Because things are going to be tough. We are going to try and help the marginalized communities get through this. Now, okay, we work, with 2 other NGOs. Set yourself challenges. That's my challenge. We're having some technical difficulties at this moment. So I think all of us have to sit down now and set ourselves some challenges. The first one is how to survive, how to help others. I think we'll get there. And this is the aspect. Learn to enjoy life. Okay. Family, I think that's always got to be number one. I'm very fortunate because my wife puts up with all my nonsense. I've got a pillar of support at home. Health, honestly, not been going too well. Not been going too well in the sense that, I'm as healthy as hell, but not probably the best word to use, but I'm as healthy and this thing, but I guess I've been eating too much during the COVID. I think that's about the only thing. The only thing I know is I'm not starving, and which is why I probably feel bad that other people should be getting food. Now, finance, measure that, look at your work, look at your spiritual side, look at yourself, look at your social, okay? Reach out to friends. Every now and then, call your friend up. Reach out to him, find out how they're doing. I've been finding that difficult to do it, how busy we've been. Talk to yourself. Don't go crazy, but to me, you need that alone time where you relate to yourself. So these are all aspects to look at. Family, your health, your finance, your work, your spiritual, your social, yourself. And every day split up some time for each of these things. Okay, so I found that honestly, some people may not like it. I actually am enjoying this lockdown. Weird as it may be, I'm at home. It's an environment I like. I get to talk. I'm never alone because my friends are always talking to me. The office is always talking to me. We're always interacting at home. I get to go out, sit down, watch some TV, and my wife come in, whatever it is. But I'm not this one. What upsets me is the fact that how are people going to cope with this who are worse off than we are? Okay, so look at these aspects. Now, don't give up. Okay, we're at the end here. That's why I'm saying, don't give up. Okay, lose your ego. I think a lot of people now realize we all thought we were very big, but the virus is obviously bigger than us, although it can't really be seen with the naked eye. So I lost pride and ego a long time ago, after my first exercise. Look at your business, reevaluate your business. Now, stop feeling sorry for yourself. I think that's the first thing. Never feel sorry for yourself. Never feel that I'm the one in the worst situation, okay, because there's always somebody suffering more than you are. Reinvent yourself. And if you have your business, and if your business doesn't look like it's going to work, see how you're going to, you may need to shut it down. I mean, sad to say, if something doesn't work and you sit down and look at all of it, you explore it, and you find that there is just no way it's going to work, then find a way to reinvent yourself, find a way to change it, okay? Because honestly, this happened even pre-COVID. There's so many businesses and people I've spoken to, they will come in and say, this is what I'm doing. And I'll look at it and say that, no, looking at this and these numbers, and then they'll give some reason why. They'll try for a month, they come back, and I'll actually try to tell them, stop it. You don't want to be in this business. It's not going to work out. Your best thing is to actually give it up and do something else. And you got to find ways to be creative. Say you're a trainer, now offer your classes using Zoom or whatever, get your clients to pay you a smaller amount. If you're, for example, running a Pilates session, you maybe could try and do with your ex-clients. To me, I'm telling businesses, reach out to those people who were your clients. Don't come up with silly packages for them or silly things to expect them to do, but do something that they want to do with you because they have a relationship with you. And then, you can work something together. So don't give up. Now, that's thank you. Now, on your screen, you will have my email, r.singham@bac.edu.my, and you will also have my phone number, 017-500-6778. Okay, 017-500-6778. I wanted to just run through all these questions, these slides very quickly. Bear in mind, there's nothing that you're going to have to get from just looking at those slides. Every one of those slides has things that you have to go back, sit down, think, reflect, talk to your colleagues, and see. Because just sitting down and listening to me yammer on for an hour and a half is not going to help you learn anything more. The thing is, you sitting down and looking like, okay, my operations, can I move it online? Okay, what did they say? What, who, where? Okay, fine. Can we try this? On the supply chain, have we contacted all our suppliers? On our technology, have we listed all our technology products? On our product, on our touch points, can we do each and every one of those things? Actually, there is an exercise. I've got an exercise of 43 or 44 type, but you can actually do that easily by looking at the slide. And you read the slide, what you need to do. Okay, and when you see what you need to do, you will then have an idea. So then all of these things here, conserve cash flow. Are we doing this or not? Have we counted how much money we have? Everything there is not just listening to me. Don't think after you've listened to this talk in an hour and a half and, oh, fine, oh, okay, it's all dandy now. It is not. All I've done is given you things to go back and think about. Are we collecting our receivables? How much is owed to us? 100,000 ringgit? Can we collect it? Have we called them? Have we told them how? Have they told us how they can pay? So you have to actually look at all of those aspects. So these slides, I will get them emailed to you, and then you can look at it. And each one of these things, okay, is actually an activity. Every one of these slides is an activity. So my summary, before we go into the Q&A, my summary is number 1, don't panic, okay, stay calm. Number 2, okay, appreciate what you have. That's why I get emotional, because I have a lot. My family and the people around me, I have a lot. I'm blessed. Number 3, try not to sack people. Try not to affect salaries. Try not to. But I know in some cases you can't. Number 4, see how your business is going to operate in the new normal. Okay, how are you going to change the touch points? How are you going to serve? Everything is possible. Some businesses, that business may be difficult. So tweak it, change it, or develop skill sets and move. Okay. So for me, don't be afraid. Okay. Now my phone number is here. I've left that slide on. You can copy it down. Okay. And if you got any questions, issues, you can always WhatsApp me. If I don't reply the first time, because honestly, I tell you, my phone is like one of those that get a million WhatsApps. But I will definitely just resend it a day later or whatever. And sometimes I do blast because I'm actually going to do another session. Now, before I forget, MDAC actually came on board with us recently on this event. and I'm hoping to work with them. I have worked with SME Corp before. So MDEC has got several programs, including a grant for companies of 5,000 ringgit, which if you go to their site, you can find out about those grants which are available. SME Corp has various strategies. What I'm going to try and do is organize a session maybe next week. And if you have all your emails, we'll shoot it out to you all. Because today's talk, we actually have attendees from Thailand, from India, from Australia, from the Philippines, who have nothing to do with specific grants given by the Malaysian government. Now, a lot of these are matching grants. If you put 1,000, they'll put 1,000 up to a certain amount, up to 500,000. Now, the thing I want to tell you all is this. Don't run around just looking for money. You see, a key problem we have is a lot of people, I need the money. You need to have something that is a viable business first, because you're going to put in, it's not just the money. You got to see, like, is it really workable? And do I really need the money? And then how you put a plan together. A lot of people just sometimes run after things because there is money, there is a scheme. But to me, what's more important in terms of survival and the thing is having a plan, having a proper viable, a thing that could be a business. So you have to look at that aspect. Okay, so what I will do is I'm actually setting up a site for the business community and for everybody to come in, where I will get all the information from MDEC, from SME Corp, all of this, and we'll work with everybody from everyone to make that information available, together with seminars by experts, not me, but by various experts from these areas to come out and give you all the knowledge. And I'm hoping to get some of these things done by next Friday. So that will be there. Just please, hang in there, don't worry. So MDEC has a lot of options and simple things. SME Corp has a lot of interesting options, and they have money. They have money, say 500 million allocated for this. There are even loan guarantees. There's funds for going digital by MDEC. So I urge you all to go and look at their sites and find the things.